women can't have anything of their own. Welcome to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. My name is Wendy McClure, and it's time we had a conversation about living in a patriarchy and how that affects our lives. Together, we can make a difference and change the conversation. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for being here, for being part of this conversation about living in a patriarchy and how we can start to change the conversation around that in order to make things better for not only our own lives, but for our daughters and for our granddaughters. What I want to talk about today is the fact that not only are men not helping us during the growing reproductive health crisis, they are actively working against us. So this will affect every woman of childbearing age. So beware, take caution, and spread the word. After Roe v. Wade was overturned last year, there was a number of companies that came out and said, we are going to cover travel expenses for women that are living in states that have enacted an abortion ban. And this was very big news at the time. I don't know if this has been utilized. I don't know how many companies have actually gone ahead and done this for employees. But I do know that a lot of companies came out and supported that plan. So the reason that was done is, one, I like to think it was in support of women. I like to think that these companies believe that women can make their own choices along with their doctor without a politician telling them what they can and cannot do with their own body. But also, it was a way to keep employees. Like if I lived in Texas or Tennessee and this decision was overturned and the 6-week abortion ban went into effect immediately, and I was of childbearing age, I would move. I would have absolutely moved. Because what we're finding out now that I don't think most people anticipated is that even women who are pregnant, who want their babies, who want to carry out the length of their pregnancy and deliver a baby and take the baby home with them, are encountering health issues. And they are not getting proper medical treatment for those health issues because the option of an abortion has been taken off the table. So they are making it so that a woman has to be on death's door in order to receive an abortion. So, what is happening is women are being forced to carry babies that are not viable. There are babies that have been diagnosed with diseases that leave them without a skull, and you know that they're not going to live, but yet they have to carry that baby to term if they can get that far. Because what is happening is a lot of women are going into sepsis, which is a life-threatening condition. So they're forcing them to go into sepsis. They're forcing them into a life-threatening situation before they will do anything. And like I said, I don't think that these kind of things were anticipated when all of these abortion bans went into effect. But now we know. Now we know. And they're still not backing off. They still don't care. And this is why I say that there is a war against women. Because it could not be more clear to me that these politicians, these people enacting bans against abortion, do not care if women die. They do not care if they go through traumatic experiences, having to walk around and mourn a baby that they haven't even been able to have removed from their body as of yet. This is traumatic. This is a tragedy. And you are drawing it out for these women and putting their life in danger because of it. So that is why a lot of these companies enacted these stipulations that if, depending on the company, they would give you time off from work, they would offer you travel expenses to go to another state so that you can get an abortion if you choose to have one, if you need one, whatever the reason. So I was a little surprised, and then yet again, not so surprised to hear that there is a new study that just came out by a very reputable organization that does studies on labor statistics, and I will list it in the show notes so that you can check it out for yourself, that men are complaining about this option. They are complaining, saying that it is a benefit to women that they don't get. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. Women have been stripped of the right to their own body. And men are worried that they're not going to get the same time off from work that the women will. Because, it's just a vacation to fly from Texas to New York to get an abortion. That's party time. Just when I think that I can't be more disappointed in men, this happens. And I am more and more disappointed every single day. So not only do these men not care about our lives, but they're mad that we'll get extra time off from work. Now, a lot of companies have paternity leave now, too. And I used to think that was a good thing. But now, after seeing this, I'm wondering, did a whole bunch of men complain that women get maternity leave and they don't? Well, why do women get time off to take care of their baby and I don't? Well, because the woman is the one who just went through a major health ordeal by being pregnant for 9 months and delivering a baby. And likely she is the one that is up nursing the baby, especially if she's breastfeeding, with the baby all hours of the day and night. But they think that it's a holiday. They think it's a vacation. Oh, why do they get 12 weeks off and I don't get any time? So is that what happened? Did a bunch of men start to complain? Hey, I think that the men should get some time off too. Why is it fair that they get extra time off? And, to be honest, there's not many states around here that give you maternity leave. Now, you'll get it. You'll get the time off, but you won't get paid for it. I happen to know that the state that I live in, it is not a requirement. And you have to go on short-term disability in order to collect that portion of the paycheck that you get when you are on maternity leave. You don't even get your full pay. So, yeah, all of these benefits that women get, and they have to have an abortion, when they have to give birth, when they're out there having drinks and partying on the beach. I mean, it's just beyond ludicrous at this point that women are going through a time when they're having their rights stripped away from them. And men are only complaining that they don't get as much time off because women might have to go out of state for a few days because they might need a life-saving abortion. This is how selfish some men are. This is what we're dealing with when it comes to living in this patriarchal system. And one of the main things is that men are brought up with such entitlement that they feel and believe that they should have everything that everybody else has, regardless of the situation. Now, there's an International Women's Day. I believe it is in October. I don't really recall. I think it is in October. International Women's Day. So this past October, I did take notice a lot of women were posting about International Women's Day. I was posting about International Women's Day. Yay, women, go women, let's do it. And so many men in comments. What about National Men's Day? There's no National Men's Day. Why is there only an International Women's Day? There is a National Men's Day, and I believe it's in March. And the reason that nobody talks about it is because the men, one, don't know about it because they don't care about it. They don't care if there's a National Men's Day. I mean, in my opinion, every day is National Men's Day, but I digress. But if there's, if this is something that they want, they have one. It's been around for a couple of decades. But they don't want it. They don't care that there is a National Men's Day. They only want to intrude on Women's Day. They only want it because we have it. And we like it. We like to lift up our fellow women, to celebrate our fellow women. And one of the ways that we do that is by sharing memes and pictures on International Women's Day. And instead of thinking that's a good thing, instead of thinking of what a good community women have, men get jealous. And they just think, well, where's mine? Where's mine? And that's sad. It's actually very, very sad. Just go and look. This upcoming International Women's Day, like I said, I believe it's in October. Check it out and check out some of the comments and tell me how the men react. No, I was wrong. I've got it backwards, I think. International Women's Day, Friday, March 8th of 2024. So men's, I always forget I've got a computer right in front of me. I can just look it up. So men's Men's Day. Let's see. November 19th. So that's International Men's Day. So yeah, I got them a little bit reversed, but that's okay. They still have one. Don't forget to wish all the men in your life a happy International Men's Day come November. Like I said, they don't care. They could give two craps about it. They just want it because they see us enjoying it. And they want to make sure that they get to partake as well. Another issue related to this is once Roe v. Wade was overturned, the Army also put into effect a benefit for women to provide them with travel expenses to leave the state if they need an abortion, if they want an abortion, if they need an abortion, whatever the situation may be. Because, when you're in the service, you don't get to choose where you live. So if you are stationed in a state that has an abortion ban and you happen to get pregnant, and again, I wouldn't go to Texas now if I was of childbearing age, regardless. And Texas is not the only one. Tennessee, Alabama, there's a bunch of states that have enacted these bans. And if you have any kind of health issue, they don't care if you die. They have made it clear. 15 women sued the state of Texas for putting their life in danger recently. I don't know why they're making women go through all of this. And that's why I say that there's a war against women. That's why I say that men don't care if women die. Because they're more concerned about a couple of extra days off at work than women being able to get health care that's life-saving. And how everybody is not outraged and up in arms is beyond me, but I've gone on about that for too long. So the Army, I'm sorry, not just the Army, all of the armed services put this into place as well. They are not paying for the medical procedure. They are merely paying for the travel expenses, which I assume is travel out of and back into the state, potentially a place to stay, a hotel room, what have you. They are not paying for the procedure because there's, been enacted legislation that federal tax money cannot go towards that, and that is fine. I have no issue with that. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. But there's a certain senator. Oh, here it comes. Alabama again. Senator Tommy Tuberville has decided that he's going to challenge this so-called benefit because he doesn't want women to have the option to travel out of state. So he is holding everything up. He is not signing off on, and I don't know all the specific details. All I know is that there has been no promotions in the military since he brought this up maybe a month or so ago. And people are saying our national security is at risk because there will be no promotions until this is settled, until a decision is made either way. And that means we could have up to 650 people or positions that need somebody promoted to that position, from people leaving or what have you. And they're just gonna stick somebody in there in the interim, somebody who may not exactly know what they should be doing, because they're gonna hold this up until they get their way. Because that's what the Republicans do now. They just decide to hold things up. And they'll do it for as long as they can. And I don't know when it gets to a point where they have to make a decision, or if they ever have to make a decision. If it's like the filibuster, when they try to get legislation moved forward and it gets to the Senate can just say, you know what, we're not ready. We're not ready to vote on this. And then they just put it in the never get to again pile. I don't know if that's the case with this or not, but I looked yesterday. There's been no word on any of it in the last couple of weeks. So I don't know. This just seems so petty to me that men are jealous and resentful of a benefit that is only there because we have been denied rights to our own body. And my biggest issue with this has always been not even the fact that we can't make the choices that we want to make in our own lives, but the government shouldn't be telling me what I can and cannot do with my body. And when you do that, you make it very clear that we are second-class citizens, that we are not considered the same as men because men don't have any restrictions on their body. I mean, it's just as simple as that. So, moving forward, I would like you to keep in mind that as we were brought up to center men and to always think about men and their comfort and to make sure that we are taking care of them in the way that they think that we're going to take care of them, just keep in mind that they are not nearly as worried about us as we worry about their comfort and the fact that they have what they need and basically, their happiness. Women, again, have been brought up to center men in their lives, not ourselves, men and children. Men are brought up to center themselves. So even now, when we truly need them to back us up, not only are they not backing us up, they're making it worse by complaining that this so-called benefit to women is unfair to them. I can't get over what is going on in this country right now. I just really can't. So just remember this and move forward accordingly when making life choices. Because I'm not saying that your man is in this category, but I'm sure there are a lot of men that are. And they're probably linked up with someone. So, I don't know, talk to your spouse or the partner that you have in your life. Find out their position on this. Just bring it up in a little offhand way where saying, I saw some guys were upset that the company that they work for is giving this benefit to women about traveling out of state for an abortion. And the men are complaining. Like, what do you think about that? That's how you find out how he truly feels. And I think that says a lot about a person. I think it says a lot about how men think of us. If they think of us at all. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to stick with that. So, thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate you for being here, to be willing to have these conversations so that we can make change in the future. We can change the conversation about how we have always centered men in our lives, how we have always strived to become a wife and a mother. And we are realizing now that is not the way that it has to be. That society always has looked down on the single woman. But you know what? All studies point to that being single women, the happiest demographic. And there's a reason for that. So, we have to get past this stigma. And I was, head first into it. I hated the fact that I was 40 years old and still single. I thought I was a leper. No man would come near me. Why can't that girl find herself a man? Why can't that girl keep a man? Oh, it was brutal. It was awful. And man, they say with age comes wisdom. And I wish I knew then what I know now. Now, don't get me wrong. I am happily married. I love my husband. He is wonderful. But I just wish I wouldn't have wasted so much time waiting for marriage to make me happy. Because in the end, that's not what made me happy. I made me happy. And it took me to get to the top of the list before I realized that it was always in my hands. I always had the power. Just like Dorothy in the red ruby slippers. Always had the power. Just like you have the power. And remember how men are not only not backing us up right now, but some of them are outright complaining. So, put yourself first. That's what men are taught to do. And you know what? Let people judge you. Doesn't matter anymore. Be happy. That's what life is about. It's about finding happiness and doing what you love. And the faster that you get to that point, the more happiness you're going to have in your life. So I thank you again for joining me. If you have more questions, if there's something that you want to know, please visit my website, hopefulist.com. And I want you to go out there this week, and I want you to be your badass self, and I want you to help change the conversation in the future. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Together, we are better. Please visit my website at hopefulist.com and remember to hit that subscribe or follow button.